Welcome everybody to Millionaire by Halftime. I'm Suzanne Shirley and we are in the Freedom Team here tonight. And we are going to be doing chapters 3 and 4 of Presley Swagerty's Millionaire by Halftime. This is an exciting series. I know I'm personally empowered reading his teaching and writing that he has recorded for us. And he develops it extensively from his personal experience, and I have just gotten so much out of it. He includes so many nuggets and so many quotes in this, and I just personally am growing a lot. And this is my second time reading it because I read the whole thing cover to cover on a plane, and it was really amazing. I just power read it because I wanted to enjoy it for myself. And now that I'm going back again, I'm reading it from a teacher's perspective, thinking about what are the things I might want to add here? What are the things I might want to say? And so anyway, let's get started. Chapter 3, if you want more out of life or out of anything that you do in life, you must become more. And I wrote the personal word next to that, amen. Amen. You are going to have to become more if you want more. A lot of people want something, but they're not willing to become the person that it takes to get what they ever want in life. So Jim Rohn, who's one of my favorite all-time teachers in network marketing, formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. And boy, isn't that the truth. If you educate yourself and you personally seek out your self-education, you will grow and you will become a better version of you. When you become a better version of you, you will have more skills and you will have more talents and you will have a bigger sense of yourself and you will have more confidence and you will have doors that will just, I'm not kidding. You might not believe me. But when you seek out personal growth and you become that better version of you, doors will literally open up. They will open up for you. And I remember sitting at convention and we were watching a video at convention. And in this video, various beautiful photos that were going through, and the voice of someone said, create in your mind your dreams and the life that you want to live for yourself. And when the doors open in life, walk right through them. And that is a perfect example and a perfect mental picture of what literally I think that this chapter is, the objective of this chapter is literally you must create for yourself in your own mind, in your own head, who you are supposed to be and become that person, so that when you are doing that, you literally opportunities will become available for you and you'll see things in a different light and you will see the doors that will open up for you where maybe they were there before, but you never noticed them. And they will opportunities will make themselves available and you will be able to walk through open doors of opportunities. So let's get started. When Presley was talking about, he was talking about in 2002, a small town garbage man. He uses the example of a man named Michael Fritter, who won a $15 million lottery jackpot. And he uses him as an example because he was a millionaire in overnight, but that in 2006, when he died, he was broke living off of his $450 per month disability check. And, you know, if you're not familiar or aware of what the process was, why did this man lose such mega riches? Well, the fact is because he was not the kind of man that could hold on to wealth. He did not have the capability to hold on to wealth. So stories like this seem all too common. People suddenly experience a windfall of money only to wind up broke, says Presley Swagerty, or worse, like, for example, in the NFL, where the average salary is $770,000 per year. And the reports show that 78% of all NFL players find themselves bankrupt. or even worse, in financial distress within 2 years after they retire. Because why? And here's the nugget. Your income will match the person that you actually are. Okay, now that's hard for some of us to really swallow. And I'm going to preach to myself here when I say that. Your income matches the person that you are. And it's something we really do need to grasp. And I don't want to gloss over this. And the reason why is because so many people just believe that if they do the activities of network marketing, and they talk to people, and they prospect, and they are consistent, and they do the activities that are required to become a successful person in network marketing, that's just going to make them successful. And the fact is they are not able to achieve that success because they have not grown into that position. And so that is why I want to not gloss over this point here. I now firmly, says Presley Swagerty, I now firmly believe that to have more, you must first become more. People do not make what they want. They make what they are. Period. So the good news, though, is that change is within your control. So there is no avoiding this cold, hard fact that your income is ultimately determined by the person that you are. However, he says, the wonderful news is that you can change. Change is something within each of our control. And guess what? Network marketing provides for you the most perfect environment for helping you to grow into the person that you're supposed to be, that you're destined to be. And I truly believe that you're designed to be by God. Personal growth is simply in network marketing. Network marketing is simply personal growth with a compensation plan attached. And so I think that is an extremely important nugget. I'm going to say that one again. Network marketing is simply personal growth. It's a personal growth course with a compensation plan attached to it. And so if you go on this journey to become the best version of you, you will be compensated for that growth. And it is so not something tangible that you can put your hands on. It doesn't seem like that would be the truth, and that's why it's so difficult for people to grasp that concept that why can't I just throw a bunch of mud up on the wall and just go at this thing 90 to nothing and contact everybody and say the right words and use the right script, and it's all going to fall in line. Well, the fact is that's not the case. You must grow into this person that's capable of hanging on to, attaining, and then hanging on to the level of success that you achieve. So network marketing is simply a journey toward becoming the person that you know deep down inside that you can become. I'm going to stop here for just a second because I want to add to this. I'm going to just borrow this from the amazing Sonia Dudley. I have heard her use this analogy. She creates a mental picture, and she talks about how imagine in your mind that as a child, when you're born and you're a very young child, you're a small child, you have these wild imaginations, and you have these dreams of becoming something incredible. You might want to accomplish all sorts of things that you might think are possible. And you don't put a limit on your dreams when you're a child. You really do believe that the sky is the limit and that you can become anything that you so desire to become. But then life happens, and you come across some people with limited beliefs in themselves, and they put those limited beliefs on you, and they transfer them onto you. And picture this in a form of baggage. And you literally take over those pieces of baggage, and you start to carry them around, and you carry them through your life, and they start to get really heavy. and you can't really express yourself because you're always trying to fiddle with holding these bags and trying to make sure that you've got them this way or that way, and so it keeps you from being successful in whatever endeavors that you're attempting to be successful in. And so with all this baggage throughout life that you're carrying around, it's very, very difficult for you to imagine this beautiful dream that you had when you were a child to become this great person that you wanted to become in whatever endeavor it might have been. So imagine that you are still that person deep down inside. You are still that person. And that God literally planted those dreams in your heart and in your mind and in your soul that for a purpose, because that's what He designed you to dream. And that person that He designed you to become is still in there. So what we need to figure out how to do through this course of study and any other future course of study is to remove that baggage piece by piece and uncover those dreams and to build up our vision of ourselves and to build confidence and to realize that we can achieve our dreams instead of constantly allowing those that have limited beliefs constantly casting those beliefs onto us. So okay, I'm just going to keep on and going on here. I kind of got off the track, but I wanted to cover that point. Okay, so the coach's success tip is that the reality is this: if you want to change your lives, our lives, it starts with our thinking. We've got to change what goes on up in our mind. So change your thinking, change your life, right? From time to time, from the time we were in our mother's arms, we were being conditioned on how we think about things. I remember Sonia Dudley always talking about, when you're growing up, people will tell you things like, slow and steady wins the race, right? Slow and steady wins the race. Well, the fact is that the slow one never wins. Where's the logic in that? I want to point that out. Slow and steady wins a race. Now think about this. You're an Olympic athlete. If you're slow and you're steady, how are you going to win that race? That defies all logic. But yet people take on these beliefs that are cast on them throughout childhood. We're conditioned to think a certain way. And so I think that's the point that Presley's trying to make here, that he was raised by his mother as if just getting by was good enough. His mother grew up in the Depression era, and where they just had to get by. So mom didn't go. So his mother did not do that on purpose. She didn't raise him to be just a guy who gets by in life. She didn't do it on purpose. It just happened because she was raised during the Depression era. So she still wanted the best for him. She just didn't know how to do anything any differently. So he realized early on in life that in order to become a better version of himself, that he would have to change his thinking. He would have to reprogram his brain. So you have to change the way you think. Unless something rocks our boat, we see no need to examine our thoughts or our beliefs. So something's got to rock your boat first. And his coach's tip here is you can either make excuses or you can make money, but you can't make both. You can make excuses or can make money, but you can't make both. So what he says to do is whatever it is that's worth doing, do it twice. Do it twice. Anything of significance that we do in life must be done twice. For example, faith can move mountains. Believe that you can move a mountain and you will move it. You must believe in what you are doing if you want to accomplish great and mighty things. So you've got to believe in yourself. You must commit to become a lifelong learner. And he gives the example of President Theodore Roosevelt in 1919. When he died on his deathbed, literally they found an open book under his pillow. That this was a man who was after learning. He always pursued learning and knowledge and gaining a new skill in life and conquering. Because I remember reading something about him in an autobiography of some sort and I can't remember because I wasn't reading his particular autobiography, but he was a short man, and he always had to overcome a lot of other taller guys, taller men, wherever he dealt with different things in his life. And so he had this fire in him to be an overcomer. So Theodore Roosevelt was a great example of that. He died reading a book. And I think that speaks volumes for what we need to be committed to. And that's what he's going to talk about here in a few minutes. John Maxwell says that most people want their lives to keep on improving, but yet they value peace and stability at the same time. They want to improve, but yet they want to keep the peace and stability in their life. So people often forget that you cannot improve and still stay the same. Growth means change, and change requires challenging the status quo. And so guess what? You're going to have to give up some peace at some point. If you want greater possibilities, you cannot settle for what you have right now. You just can't. So mind food. Mind food. What are you putting in your mind? Well, there's 4 things that make you grow. What are the 4 things? Reading good books, listening to quality audio, attending seminars, and running with winners. Running with winners. I love those. Those are amazing. So the body is what the body is what the body is fed, and by the same token, the mind is what the mind is fed. So what are you putting in your mind? You've heard that you are what you eat, right? Well, what are you putting in your head? Because whatever you're putting in here is what you are. Are you sitting around watching a lot of television? You know, I have heard some famous theologians that I love to listen to talk about that the people that are not busy growing themselves personally, the ones that are not busy growing themselves personally, they're not just sitting around idle. They are spending a lot of money. You know what they're spending a lot of money on? Entertainment. They're watching a lot of movies. They're going out to eat a lot. They're spending a lot of money buying things. They are entertaining themselves. They are not feeding the mind. And I think that is very important to point out. Are you spending a lot of money on entertainment? Because if you are spending a lot of money and a lot of time on entertainment, my guess is that you are not growing personally. Because too much entertainment and too much fluff, there's nothing productive going on, right? So mind food. What is your environment? It is how you are conditioned, okay? The people with whom you spend the time, the television shows that you watch. What about the books that you read? What we put in our mind determines our attitudes, our habits, personality, and ultimately our level of success, according to Presley. So be environmentally cautious. Do not let negative forces enter your mind. Do not let small thinkers hold you back. Put good stuff in your mind, says Presley, and spend time with successful people. So let's talk about good books. What are some examples of some books that you can read? Well, he talks about inspirational autobiographies of successful people. Now, I'm not here to tout my, to brag on myself or anything. I'm not, okay? I will just, on a side note, just say this, okay, guys? Being a teacher for all those years, it was hard to resign myself that I had to become a teacher that was not going to so-called become extremely successful in the bigger world or in the bigger picture of life, that I was going to earn a very small paycheck. I fought it for a long time. I remember crying on my mother's bed when I realized the second year in college that I had to change my major, that I couldn't be successful in the sciences and the math so that I could go off to dental school. I knew that that was, banging my head up against a wall, and I had to resign myself to the fact that I was going to have to go with actually what I was talented with. And I think through a process of many years of fighting that off, and because I'm so attracted to people that are doing amazing things, I'm really attracted to that. I'm turned on by people who are achieving greatness. And I always thought to myself, well, I can't achieve greatness. And I know that's putting myself down, but I just said to myself, I'm just a teacher. I'm shoved back into this little corner of a classroom over here, and I'm insignificant, and I don't make that much of a difference. Because, you know, when you're beat down on a daily basis by so much negativity that happens in a classroom, you start to think that you don't have any influence on anyone. So as a result, I started to listen to a lot of biographies. And I didn't listen to autobiographies, I listened to biographies. And some of the most amazing ones I've ever listened to are some theologians like John Wesley, Martin Luther King, who is obviously the civil rights leader. I listened to a biography about actually Martin Luther, which was the basically the author of the Reformation, of the separation from Catholicism, from Protestantism from Catholicism. I thought that was fascinating. I listened to a biography of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, which was a pastor and a martyr and a spy in Germany, in Nazi Germany during the time of World War II. And he went against Hitler, and he was eventually martyred for his beliefs. And the kind of heroism and courage that these people exhibited fascinated me, and it made me think that I could just be a voyeur in their life. I learned from these people. I listened to a biography of Abraham Lincoln, and several others that I can tell you. John F. Kennedy, Ronald Reagan, some people that I've really admired throughout my life, that have achieved greatness in their time. And you will learn if you go after those types of things. I certainly did. I became a better person when I read those things. What are some topics? Personal growth, psychology, sales, finance, health, the principles of successful living. What are some authors that you need to be looking at? John Maxwell, Zig Ziglar, Napoleon Hill. I just bought his book, The Power of Thinking Big, right? Stephen Covey, T. Harv Eker. I've never heard of him before until just now. And then there's a list on page 191, if you have the hard copy of this book, where he has a list of books in his list that's called Game Plan Reading List. Those are the things that you might want to look at for the books that you can add to your library. So reading is the consistent thing that you need to be doing on a daily basis. You need to be reading 10 pages today, and then again tomorrow, and again the next day, and then the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And over a course of a year, you'll have read 3,650 pages, the equivalent of 1 or 2 dozen books of life-transforming material. And if you don't think your life is going to change after you read 2 dozen books in the process of 1 year, you're crazy if you don't think that. You will change. Your mind will change. You will think differently. You'll believe more about yourself. You'll think bigger. You'll dream bigger. You'll feel that you're capable of doing more when you hear that other people can do things, right? Now, what you need to do on point number 2 is create a rolling university in your car. Now, wherever it is that your hands are busy, but your mind is free. If you're cooking dinner, if you're driving, if you're walking, if you're on a treadmill, whatever it is that you're doing, that's when you need to be listening to things that will change the way that you think. Instead of turning on the news or just entertaining yourself with all sorts of other types of music. Why not listen to something that's going to shape the way that you think, right? And then the next point he makes, number 3, is attend seminars. So attend seminars designed to help you change your life, where you can learn from the greatest speakers and trainers and motivators of our day, where they create excitement and inspiration from the fellow attendees that are there. You're going to learn from them as well. Robert Kiyosaki, who is a huge entrepreneur and owner of many different network marketing companies and traditional businesses, says, I go to seminars. I like it when they are at least 2 days long because I like to immerse myself in a subject. And then he further says in 1973, he attended a pivotal seminar about how to purchase real estate and not have to spend any money doing so or not lose any money for doing so. And he said that he owes his life to that training and that seminar because it bought him his life. and that he won't ever have to work for the rest of his life because of it. So he says that he dedicates himself to going to at least 2 courses every year. So Jim Rohn says, do not join an easy crowd. Go where the expectations and the demands to perform are high. So surround yourself in an environment where people are going to have high expectations of you. And I am texting my husband to let the dog out right now. Hopefully he will do that. Okay, so number 3, the thing he tells you to do, so far it is read good books. Number 2, listen to quality audio. Okay, take that back. This is number 4. Read good books, listen to quality audio, attend some seminars. Number 4, and hang around winners, right? Build the relationships with people that really are going to add to your life and not subtract from your life. And I wrote out into the margin for this particular thing, wow, okay? So this particular paragraph really impressed me. So I'm going to read it. People, and I posted this on our team page today, this particular quote, because it was so powerful to me. People will either give us energy or they will take it away. They lift us up or they pull us down. Here are a couple of ways to determine whether a relationship is either positive or negative. The first is to ask yourself whether a person makes you feel better or if it makes you feel worse about yourself. The second is to evaluate how much energy the relationship requires of you. Let's face it, some relationships feel like they're sucking the literal life right out of us. I would dare say these relationships involve negative people, of course, right? So he says, I have a theory on negative people. My legs still work, so guess what? I'm out of here, says he. In the long run, a negative relationship cannot influence you in a positive direction. So your future is too important to risk associating with negative people who are living failures that drag you down. Your relationships will define you. So choose your friends wisely. If you cannot change the people around you, then change the people you are around. Okay? In other words, get the hell, did I just say that? Get the heck out of Dodge. You're laughing at me right now. Get the heck out of Dodge and get away from people that are so negative, that are detracting from you and they're subtracting from you. Coach's success tip, you show me, and if you were my students in my classroom, my students would be laughing at me and, oh, I would never get another sentence out right now. As soon as I say any sort of a curse word, that's what they would do. Boy, we would be off subject right now. Okay, you show me how you, okay, he says, you show me who you run with, and I will show you who you are, or who you are going to be. So who is it that you are running with? Is it somebody that's helping you become a better person? Or is it somebody that's taking away from who you are going to be? So he says, describing who you are with, if you want to accomplish great things with your life, you must hang with the people who have what you want, who are at least pulling the rope the same way that you are pulling it. If you're running with positive, motivated people who see the glass that's half full, then it will rub off on you. You will start seeing all the possibilities for your life. But the flip side is also true. If you're hanging around with negative, dull, disillusioned, frustrated crybabies, then you are swimming against the current and you are going to find it tough to break free of that, okay? So here's the saying. Inmates do not like to see another prisoner escape. Inmates do not like to see another prisoner escape. How about this one? Misery, what is that? Misery loves company. We could just keep on going, right? You've heard these phrases. People are uncomfortable with you becoming a better version of you. People are uncomfortable in your circle, possibly, that you are growing and making some changes in a positive direction, and it makes them take a look at themselves. It makes them evaluate themselves, and they are literally threatened by your growth. They are threatened by your accomplishments. They're threatened by your positive energy. They're threatened by your amazing new outlook on life. And they're going to try to put you right back down in that little pit that you crawled out of. And you are the one that's in charge of making sure that you don't allow that, right? And I just saw some things pop up on the screen. Somebody saying amen. So I'm going to say amen to you, Jackie. Awesome sauce. Go for it. I'm telling you, we are going to power team together, and we are not going to let negative people drag us down in life anymore. No, we're not. So who are your 5 best friends? Your income tends to equal the average of the incomes of your 5 best friends. Did you know that? Yikes. Yeah, I'm preaching to myself here, okay? I am so not preaching to y'all. I might be looking like I'm preaching to y'all, but I'm looking at myself here. Your personal growth will be about the average level of the personal growth of your 5 closest friends. Your health, boy, look at this one. Your health will be about the average level of the health of your 5 closest friends. Oh boy, that hits home, doesn't it, for some of us? Your finances, okay? Your health, your success, your relationships, and everything else in your life will be very close to the average level of your 5 best friends. Now, we need to really, really internalize that for a second. We need to do some self-reflection and some self-examination, and we need to think right now, who are my 5 closest friends? Who are the 5 people that influence me the most? And think about the areas of health and finances and relationships and personal growth and development. And I'm telling you something right now. If you make a list, you are going to be, in some cases, astonished. And you know what, guys? Something I have learned in education is if you do not reflect, if you cannot be self-aware, and if you cannot evaluate yourself and really look at yourself and admit where you're at, you're not going to grow. You're not going to become anything better. So it's so important that you're able to evaluate these areas here that we're talking about right now. So if your 5 best friends are negative, well, guess what? It's next to impossible for you to become a positive person. It's just impossible, right? If your 5 closest friends are living in the past, always complaining and blaming others for their lack of success, right? Always acting negatively, then guess what? The odds of you becoming successful are very, very slim. Boy, this is hitting home, isn't it, guys? I know it is. Remember, people who tell you that it cannot be done are usually unsuccessful. Isn't that the truth? People that have the gall to tell you that something cannot be done, look at their lives. What have they done with their lives? Are they speaking from experience? Have they tried and failed? Have they become anything important? Well, 9 times out of 10, they have not. So let's chalk that up, right? If you want to be successful, you need to have relationships with successful people. Go and hang around some winners. I'll tell you what, for me personally, right after convention, I felt like I was literally walking on cloud 20,000. I was up in the sky, and I'll tell you what specific event made me feel that way. And still to this day, I have notebooks full of stuff that I have not even been able to uncover yet on this particular meeting. And this was the meeting of the Rubies and Senior Rubies with Kristen Abart and Kelly Norman and Melissa Eichenhorst and Helen McFadden. And I am telling you something, I got to spend some quality time after this particular meeting because there's not a lot of people in the Ruby and Senior Rubies group, right? And they had places they had to be, and a lot of them hightailed it out of there. And there were very few people hanging around afterwards to talk. I got to spend some real quality, not a long amount of time, but some quality time conversing personally with Helen McFadden, Melissa Eichenhorst, and Kelly Norman. I got my picture taken with them. They got to listen to me say something. I complimented all of them. I'm not going to sit there and say, what thing can you tell me to be a better person? I just had to compliment them and tell them what they had just done to change who I was as a person. I literally felt like my hand was going to fall off during the meeting because I had written so much. I was feverishly writing. And so I promise you, I will release some of this information that I learned in these meetings, and I can't wait to do it. I need to get quiet and take some time and do some reflection over that and get that out for you. But just standing in the presence of some people who have already done it, who've done it and been successful at it, and literally their clothes, they're in clothes, they're just regular clothes, but yet to me, I'm like, this is a powerful person standing in these high heels right here. This is a powerful person standing here in this dress. It just really blew my mind, the fact that, I knew that I could be the same person that they are, just because they breathe their life into me. And so it really does make you a better person when you hang around people that challenge you, and they encourage you, and they inspire you to become a better person. So the next thing that Presley Swagerty tells us to do is find a coach. If you have not found a coach, then you need to find one. So who is it that you're looking for? You're looking for someone who is a mentor to you, who is successful in his or her own accomplishments and hard work, and who has accomplished amazing things in life, right? Who has extraordinary discipline, who refuses to be denied, who is relentless in the pursuit of their dreams and their goals, and who has traits that you really admire, and who inspires you to set the bar higher for yourself. That's the kind of person that you need to find in a coach, okay? When you're with your mentors, you feel energized. Thank you, Debbie. You're just so sweet. I appreciate you so much. Guys, you guys, I'm telling you, I don't get to teach. I don't get to teach anymore. And when I do this once every week, I feel like I'm in my element. This is what I'm called to do. This is what I did in my classroom for years and years. And I did it so much that I was exhausted from it. I was just burned out, But when I get to do this with you guys, it just energizes me. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So he says when he's with his mentors, he feels energized and full of ideas, and he starts to see things differently. He starts to really have a different vision of things. And that's incredible. When you can get around somebody that is so powerful in the things that they've accomplished, you become enabled to see things the way they do. And you start to be able to see things as possible and not impossible. And you start to believe in yourself as you never have before. And that's what I mean when here you are walking through life, whereas the doors might be there all the time, but you never felt the capability that you could walk through them. But the more you grow as a person and the more you hang around with these winners and you find yourself a coach that pours their life into you, and that you feel lifted and edified and inspired, then you will believe when those doors appear. You'll believe that you can open them and you can walk through them. And I'm not kidding when I tell you that. That is the truth. Okay. Then he gives example of Manny Carter, which is this really great guy who was relentless, who worked really, really hard, and he worked odd jobs, and he just did all sorts of things. He worked 2 or 3 jobs at a time at one point. He invested his money. He was frugal. He was very conscious about the different things that he did. He was very deliberate about his actions in life. And he became literally worth a few $1 million. And so Presley started to hang out when he was a child with this man and saw BMWs in the driveway at Christmas. He would invite him over to spend time. And there was lots of food to eat, and there was never a lack of anything. And Manny started to get, Manny set the idea in Presley's mind, without even realizing it, that Presley just said, I want to be like you, Manny, when I grow up, you know? And that's literally who he became. Manny was like a mentor to him. So Manny never knew the influence that he had on his life, but Presley says, I realized that if Manny could do it, then so could I. He said, if Manny could do it, then so can I. And that's what made Presley believe in himself. He hung around somebody who had already done it, who had already accomplished, and who was doing it still. And that's the key to all this. We've got to hang around people who have already done it, who are still doing it, and are doing it over and over and over again, because the more we hang around that, we're going to believe we can do it too, right? And it'll just come naturally to us. He says, Presley says, I'm writing this book today because a man named Manny Carter stood in the gap for our family and showed us that we could break the pattern and be successful. And the pattern of what? Poverty, right? He says, my question to you is this: what legacy are you leaving for your family? What legacy are you leaving for your family? Are you leaving them a legacy of entertainment? Watching television shows? There's nothing wrong with watching TV, guys. There's nothing wrong with it. And, you know, I'm preaching to myself. Remember, I am not holding myself on some pedestal here, okay? Are we showing others that we can improve? Are we leaving an actual legacy for our children? Are we, you know, I don't have children, so I'm going to just speak to you. And I know it's easy for me to say this because I don't have kids. But we need to live every single day as if everyone's watching us. Because guess what? I told that to my students. You know, I told my students, guys, here's the deal. You make a poor choice, everybody sees you doing it. You don't think people are watching you? They're watching. You slip up, they see it. Do you know that people catch negative things way more than they catch positive things? Because we're just designed that way. We are, to err is human, right? We're born negative. We're born sinful. That's what we do. We have to fight to be positive. We have to fight to do the right thing and to not make mistakes, right? So everyone is watching us. Your children are watching you. Your spouse is watching you. Your coworkers are watching you. Your friends are watching you. What kind of a legacy are we leaving? That's something that we really need to ask ourselves. We're going to move on to chapter 4. Big one. Get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone. Are we ever going to create this huge successful life if we're living in a comfort zone? That'd be great, wouldn't it? That'd be easy. No. Anything worthwhile in life is going to require some hard truth. And guess what? That hard truth is that we're going to have to step outside of that comfort zone. Not easy. Still preaching to self, by the way. Still preaching to self, okay? Move out of your comfort zone. You can only grow if you are willing to feel awkward and uncomfortable when you try something new. So, a good test for yourself, according to Brian Tracy, is if you feel uncomfortable or you feel awkward, then guess what? You're moving in the right direction. You're headed towards your dreams. Guess what? And according to Jessica Heffley and every other diamond that's on the stage, and emerald and sapphire, guess what? You're afraid? So what? Do it afraid. Just do it, right? So Presley talks about broadening your horizons. He says that the very writing of this book was an act that was outside of his comfort zone, because the thought of writing a book scared him to death. He says, however, as he started to put some thoughts down on paper, the fear began to fade. So what does that say? Action. Action precedes belief, right? Action precedes anything, right? If you put forth some action, then you're going to build your belief. That's going to build your belief. Belief doesn't come before action. Action builds belief. So action comes before belief. So I'm just going to say that. As I started writing, formulating the chapters, it started to occur to me, I can do this. I can do this. The more I worked on this book, the bigger my comfort zone grew. So now the level of his comfort zone started to get bigger and bigger. Getting out of your comfort zone is tough, says Presley Swagerty. Understandably, many associates would like to grow a huge, successful network marketing business without getting out of their comfort zone, right? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Can't do it. Not possible. Unfortunately, that simply is not possible. If you want to do great things in life, you must push yourself. You got to push yourself. Nobody can push you. Okay? Nobody can push you. You got to push yourself. I'm just going to sit there for a second. Nobody can push you. You have to push yourself. Do you know how many experiences I have with that? A lot. I have experiences with myself, trying to become something or better myself, whether it's eating habits, whether it's maintaining a large amount of weight loss, right? Not falling prey to a bucket of popcorn or a large pizza or a big old massive half-gallon of ice cream on a consistent basis. Not eating my weight in sugar on a daily basis. Or whether it's doing the hard things first on the list of things that I've got to do. If I make a list of things I've got to do, I always do the toughest thing first so that I get it out of the way, and all the easy things, the tough thing is out of the way. You have to push yourself. And how often have I worked with people, whether it's my students in my classroom or whether it's individuals on this team, who expect that the motivation is going to come from outside themselves. That's not going to happen. There is no force that's going to come at you and push you to do anything, ever. I don't have the time to push people to do stuff. I don't have time. I've got to push myself. I can't push everyone else, right? And I would always tell that to my students. I'm like, when are you going to step up to the plate? Because I'm sitting here showing you the way. I'm showing you how to do it, when to do it, where to do it, why to do it. And you are the one that has to just do it. Because I can't make that person do it. They have to make themselves. And so the motivation is going to come from within you. But if you're just sitting around waiting, I'm just going to sit here for a second because I'm going to explain something. It goes right back to that principle that's over here on page 31, that action precedes the motivation. If you're not motivated, you're sitting around waiting for motivation to come your way, right? I'm sitting around. I'm waiting to be motivated. When is my motivation? It's never going to come, right? Until you get busy. You get busy doing what you're supposed to be doing, and all of a sudden your feelings catch up to it, right? Your motivation comes from action. So you get busy doing something and going in the right direction, and your motivation will come to you. And all of a sudden you're more motivated and more motivated and more motivated to continue on doing the things you need to be doing, fighting that hard fight, right? Okay. So he gives some more examples. I'm going to go on. Have courage. Have courage. He says, what is courage? We must have courage as we build our network marketing business. We must understand that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is not the absence of fear. Rather, it is the judgment that something else is more important than fear. Is your family more important than your fears? Is retiring your husband or your spouse more important than your fears? Is getting out of your 40-hour a week daily grind more important than your fears? Is your health more important than your fears? Your children's college fund, is that more important than your fears? How about paying off that debt? Is that more important than your fears? I'm just going to ask a few questions that I know everyone asks themselves, because ultimately when it comes down to it, what you do is a result of your level of fear that you're willing to overcome and fight. Your actions are a result of the level of fear that you're willing to overcome. Okay? All right. So courage is being afraid and doing it anyway. Courage is being afraid and doing it anyway. So courage does not always roar. It's not really loud, and it has not a big old loud noise to it. Sometimes it can be the quiet voice, according to Presley Swagerty, at the end of the day that says, I'm going to try again tomorrow. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to do it again. So I want you to rest and be assured in the fact that, you know, courage is not always loud. It's not always out there. People aren't always noticing the courage, right? Sometimes the courage is the quiet fight. The quiet fight that says, I refuse to give up. I refuse to stop. I refuse to give in. Okay? So he gives some examples. I'm going to go over them real quick. Rose bushes have to be pruned to reach full blossom. Diamonds are formed only through the most intense pressure. The hottest fires produce the hardest steel. So, to achieve success, you will have to step out of the comfort zone that you have. Face your fears and do the things that are new and uncomfortable to you. If you want to make some success for yourself and for your life and your future and your family, you're going to have to step out of that comfort zone. So you're going to have to make some decisions. Like, for example, do I get out of bed or do I hit the snooze button? Do I watch the TV or do I read a good book? Do I keep my mouth shut, or do I bring up my business to the guy standing in the elevator? Right? So it's either or. These are some decisions we're going to have to start making as we go through our daily lives. And I always tell my students, you know, guys, it's the smallest stuff. It's called organization and being on time and showing up and being prepared and, you know, reading the chapter the night before and whatever else that's necessary. It's the small things that lead to success. So in Presley Swagerty's life here, he's talking about opening your mouth instead of keeping it closed when you're in front of a guy or a person and you can share your business. Make the call or be afraid to do it, or get out of bed or hit the snooze button. So those are some really good examples. Everybody is afraid, even me. I have different levels of fear. I know I seem fearless, but trust me, I have fears, okay? Everybody is tempted to stay where they're at. Everybody's tempted to stay in their comfort zone. He talks about he and his wife, Jeannie, have made millions of dollars in network marketing. And even with all the success, he says, I still face some daily moments of decision that everyone else does. In fact, I've come to realize that everyone has these moments of fear. Everyone is tempted to do what's convenient, what's easy, pull back, settle, just settle, right? But winners never settle. Winners never settle. They're never happy with that status quo. What's a winner? A winner has a winning attitude. A winner has a winning attitude. Winners live and breathe success. Winners do not let pessimism rule the day and dictate. Winners do not believe in giving in to negative forces. Winners get out of their comfort zone. Winners are the happiest individuals. Winners are finding life rewarding right where they're at. Finding life rewarding. Winners look forward to each new day and each new challenge. Winners simply have a different attitude, a winning attitude. I'm going to give you an example. Okay, I'm going to get personal a little bit because guess what? I'm a person too. Oh yeah. It's going to be about Plexus. And it's going to be about my personal business. Okay, you ready? Here we go. So this morning I had a little bit of a pity party because for the first time I'm starting to see a little bit of a trend. Points are going down a little bit. They're going backwards a little bit. And, you know, I'm not going to say any word that indicates the season that we're in, but let's just put it this way. People are on vacation. People are not thinking about getting healthy right now, right? They're not thinking about going and buying this great supplement plan and getting started on a new life, right? They're not really focused on that if we admit it. So what is that? Maybe a little bit of a trend. And I kind of got it a little bit into a pity party just for about 30 minutes this morning. And then I remembered what it was like last summer, that I kind of had that same sort of thing happen last summer to myself. But you know what I did? I got rid of that thought. Because you know what I did? I started to think about the differences between last summer and this summer. And I want you to do the same thing. I want you to think about the differences between where you were a year ago and where you are now. The differences between where you were 6 months ago and where you are now, even a month ago and where you are now. What I did is I looked at myself and I looked at this team and I said, look at the team that we had last summer. I had barely achieved senior gold. I expected this was going to be easy. I expected that the next rank was right around the corner, that it was going to be just a month or two away. No, I spent 7 months at senior gold. I had a slap in the face. What else happened? I looked at last year and I said, well, we only had maybe 130 people on the team. Now look at this year. We've got a team of 866 people. We have people all across the country that are on this team. We have people that are passionate, people that believe, people that have this vision, people that are on fire, people that just went to convention, people that are just totally dedicated to their families, dedicated to Plexus, dedicated to the future of this company. And I said to myself, I said, what are you doing for 2 seconds thinking that you need to be in a mind slump of something? You know, who cares that the points on this little screen over here don't reflect what you think they should reflect right now? Because what's behind the screen are individuals and people who are powerful and have passion and vision, and they love people, and they're doing the right things, and they're committed, and they're dedicated, and they're in momentum, and they're going in the right direction. And all we do is add tons of people every month, right? So I'm sitting here going, what do I have to be upset about? I mean, seriously, not a thing, not a thing. So I checked myself very quickly, very quickly. Yep, I did. So there's my personal example. We have 22 people. No, we have 14 people on right now. 22 people that just said something. Okay, I just haven't looked at all the chat things. Okay, I talked about what is a winner. What's a winning attitude? A winning attitude is a person who takes a mental leap of faith whereby you believe that each day's events will validate your expectations of good results. A person's attitude transcends every part of his or her life. Attitude is everything, guys. You control your attitude and you control your destiny, period. Attitude is everything. Life is about 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you respond to it. It's all about attitude. Attitude is everything. It's not easy. Having a good positive attitude demands a lot of hard work. Continually, high vigilance. You have to check yourself. You have to stop and say, wait a minute, self. We are not going to go down that path. You have to talk to yourself sometimes. You have to say, well, I will not allow that. And you have to validate out loud. Myself, I had to say some things to myself out loud and to get my head back in the place that it needs to be in. And then I said to myself, I'm just going to continue down this path. I said, look what you've just done, Suzanne. You've just walked away from your career. You're doing what you love. You have a new calling in life. You have a new passion. What do you have to be upset about? Really, truly. Seriously, not a thing. Not a thing. And there's always people. I always think, there's people out there that have it way worse than I do. Way worse. So, the great divide between average performance and peak achievement is a winning attitude. A winning attitude is based on faith that life is inherently awesome and the belief that with perseverance, you will ultimately win and you will reach your dreams. And you must have this attitude that winning is not optional. And you know what? Guess what? I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I'm just going to say, I got that attitude. That attitude's right here. I see myself as a diamond. Okay? Now, I don't know when that's going to happen. It's going to take a while. And I'm not worried about how long it's going to take. But I know in my soul that that is where I'm headed. And I know that this team is a diamond team. And I know there are people on this team that have committed themselves to the very same vision. Do you have that attitude? Do you have a winning attitude? That's the question you've got to ask yourself. Winners versus losers. Winners believe that they create their life. Losers believe that life just happens to them. Just happens. Whoa, that's really a terrible way to think, right? Winners think big. Losers think small. Winners focus on opportunities. Losers focus on the obstacles in front of them. Winners admire rich and successful people. And when I say rich, I don't mean necessarily monetarily, right? Losers resent rich and successful people. Have you heard some of those things out of people's mouths? They resent rich and successful people. That's just jealousy. That's a loser mentality, right? Winners play the money game to win. Losers play the money game to not lose. To not lose. Boy, that's powerful. Winners associate with positive, successful people. Losers associate with a bunch of negative people. Oh, boy, I taught with a lot of people like that. I had to stay away from those people. Winners manage their money well. Losers mismanage their money. I have to admit, I like to spend money. But I do know how to control myself, just like I know how to control my eating. And I know how to hold myself accountable. So I make it one of my positive affirmations. That's one of my affirmations, by the way. I'm just going to admit it. I have one of my affirmations. I am a frugal person. I never choose to overspend what's in my bank account. I always have an abundance and an excess in my savings account. These are some of the things I say to myself. Are you saying positive affirmations to yourself every day? What are the things that you struggle with? Do you have some fears? Then you need to write positive affirmations that are direct opposite of those fears and start to say them to yourself every single day so that you can overcome some of these things that you're struggling with. Because that's one of my personal struggles. And I'm going to be honest with you. I struggle with that. So I would be crazy to not admit to you that I have problems with dealing with certain things. So I'm going to be real with you, right? And tell you what I'm struggling with here. Winners are bigger than their problems. Losers are smaller than their problems. Winners choose to get paid based on their results. Losers just choose to get paid on time. Like hourly. Winners act in spite of their fears. Losers let fears stop them. Winners have their money Winners have their money work hard for them, whereas losers work hard. Whoa. for their money. I want to think about that one for a second. Winners are leveraging time and creating residual income. Their money is working for them, right? Whereas losers are just exchanging hours for dollars. They're working really hard and they're working for other people. They have a boss. No offense, that's what most of the world does, but our goal is to get away from that, right? So they work hard for their money. Winners constantly learn and grow, whereas losers think that they know everything. They know it all. He talks about Derrick Rose and David Copperfield admitting, these are great men. Derrick Rose is a very amazing basketball player. And he says, the moment that I'm tired and ready to quit practicing, I realize that it's these moments that everybody else quits when they're tired, right? And therefore, if I keep going, I know that I can separate myself from my competition. So I keep going, says Derrick Rose. David Copperfield says, in an interview with Oprah, he says, people mistakenly think that I don't have any fears. No, of course I have fears. I just decide to charge at them head on. Jessica Heffley said, I was bawling, crying my mascara off the stage before I had to go on the stage to give this speech, but I did it anyway. I was afraid. I was scared to death, but I just did it anyway. That's amazing, right? That's facing your fears. What is a crisis? The word crisis literally means a point of decision. Okay? So every day when you come face to face with the edge of your comfort zone, you're at a moment of crisis, a point of decision. And it's a decision with only two options. Either you advance or you stay the same. It's really simple, guys. Presley Swagerty says, I'm asking you to advance, to attack, and to charge your fears head on. That's the difference between being a winner and a loser, to just take those fears and charge at them. What is hard can become easy. Everything that's hard can become easy if we continue to just do it. Repetition is the key. What seems hard now will become really easy if you just keep tackling it head on. In other words, what's outside of your comfort zone now can be one day be inside your comfort zone. So it's like, I do this all the time now. It's no big deal. You'll actually look back and laugh at yourself saying, I can't believe I used to be scared of that. Susie McCrae and I just started doing the webinars, the power hours for this team. It was her that had the idea because I'd never done them before. I'd watch Chris and Susie McCall do them every week. And I thought, wow, that's not that big of a deal. Well, guess what? It's a big deal. And, of course, yours truly doesn't want to just do it pell-mell, willy-nilly. I had to have a plan. So what did I do? I went and found the master, Melissa Eichenhorst, and I wrote entire script of what to say at every moment of the whole thing. And I wrote it out word for word. I pushed pause and play and pause and play 1,000 times and wrote this thing out because I felt like I had to do this the right way. If we're going to do it right, we're going to do it the right way, right? And so, the first time it was really hard. And I felt so crazy doing it because I was reading something, and I never read when I speak. But now it's starting to get easier because we're just doing it over and over again. And Susie really loves it because she's getting great at it too. And, it's just becoming second nature to us. And we've only done it twice. And I'm telling you, the more you take on something and you just do it and do it and do it and do it, it's like no big deal now. Okay, well, that's easy. That's now inside your comfort zone, right? Okay. The real secret to escaping your comfort zone is having a big why. Having a big why. Do you remember Tom Hanks in the movie Castaway? Yes, rock stars on this team. Rock stars. Yes, Mary. Yes, Brandy. Repetition is key. Rock stars on this team, right? Tom Hanks in the movie Castaway. Remember how he would take that little lighter when he was in the cave at night and he would flick that little lighter and he would look at his watch. He had a timepiece that was there, a pocket watch, and the love of his life, there she was, the picture of her, and he would look at her and think about her. She was his why. She's the reason that he stayed alive. Now, this is just a movie here. But the thought of her was enough to inspire him to be brave and escape the island. So what's the secret? You must stay focused on your dream. You must stay focused on your dream. When your vision is clear, you will pay the price. When your vision is clear, you will pay the price. If you have a dream and you're excited about where you're going, you will do whatever it takes to get there. You won't make excuses. You'll be willing to sacrifice just about anything. And you'll be willing to sacrifice time with people that you love. You'll be willing to sacrifice your own comfort. You'll be willing to sacrifice your entertainment and your free time, your sleep. You'll be willing to sacrifice your sleep. These are some real things I'm talking about here. Getting up extra early, staying up extra late, working when there's no interruptions, when the kids are asleep, when the husband's not around, not going out to a family dinner, having them bring you something back to eat from the restaurant because you have work to do. Hey, we got a dream to build here. Mama's going diamond. Am I hitting some nerves right here? Good. I get up at 5 or 6. That's what somebody was saying. I got up at 4:30 when I was teaching. 4:30. Because I had to spend an hour on that computer. Okay. Almost done. Okay, I got to end it with this. This is amazing. Here's mediocrity. Oh, I hate that word, mediocrity. I hate it. I can't stand living in mediocrity. I don't like it, never have. And it used to really bother me that I had no way out as a teacher. I felt that even though I was a great person and I was becoming a better person, that I was trapped in a profession of mediocrity. And I don't want to put the profession down because it is a noble profession. But I just felt that I was so trapped in something that kept me at a certain level of life. And I hated it. Okay, I used to have a comfort zone where I knew that I couldn't fail. The same four walls and busy work were really more like jail. Oh my God, that's how I felt. I longed so much to do the things I'd never done before, but I stayed inside my comfort zone and paced the same old floor. I said it didn't matter, that I wasn't doing that much. I said I didn't care for things like boats and cars and such. I claimed to be busy with things inside my zone. But deep inside, I longed for something special of my own. I couldn't let my life go by, just letting others win, just watching others win. So I held my breath and I took a step to let the change begin. I took that step, and with new strength I'd never felt before, I kissed my comfort zone goodbye and closed and locked the door. If you are in your comfort zone, afraid to venture out, remember that all winners were at one time filled with doubt. A step or two and words of praise can make your dreams come true. So greet your future with a smile. Success is there for you. Okay, let us open this thing up and unmute. Here we all are. Here we go. Gallery view. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good.
Feeling motivated.
That went on for a long time.
It was necessary, though. Good job.
Very well done. Very well done.
So any kind of comments or questions or reflections or whatever?
The whole thing resonated.
Yeah.
I literally sat here by chapter 4 and felt like I was in Plexus Church Revival.
Exactly. It was like, this is Plexus Church, and we all need to be here.
I mean, it was like revival hour and a half.
Yes. Yeah.
Total
Yeah.
revival.
Well, you know what? It was a revival for me just to do it. I think, just right before this, I was talking to my husband, and I said to him, I need to drum up a really positive attitude right now, because when you're in the midst of adversity and when you're in the midst of something that you're struggling through, it's hard to have that positive. But I just started, and I'm like, well, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, Judd, go. Look at Judd, go.
That's what I needed today, because I have 4 ambassadors now. Last week I had 1. So, yeah, I'm hitting my stride.
Woohoo!
And that's only been a week. So, and now my first level 2 got her first potential question today, and she joined yesterday.
Awesome.
So I'm already in my, I have to learn to train people, and yeah, you can't tell me no. You already know that. So
it was profound, the whole thing about the 5 people you spend most of your time with.
Wow.
And I was around a lot of old friends on Saturday for a friend's retirement party, and I had read some of the book prior to that anyway, and it was just the whole thing about people living in the past, and just finding more and more that the people in my past that I used to spend time with, that it doesn't resonate with them anymore, because there's nothing fresh or new to talk about. I felt like I had lots to talk about, but the connection wasn't there.
Yes.
So I kind of see the reasons why I don't spend a lot of time with that group. I love them, but it's not where my energy is going these days.
Everybody gets tired because all I talk about is Plexus.
yes, that's why I hang out with Allie and Jason and my husband mostly, because we talk about Plexus all day. And now we have a local team, which is amazing. Never thought we'd have that, because we live in California and everyone's kind of spread out. But now our all of my ambassadors are local, except for I have 1 in Boston. And Allie's our upline. So we hung out all day yesterday all together, and it was amazing. And there was 15 people with us, and we couldn't really talk to them because all we talked about was we talked to them, but it would always come back to Plexus, and we don't want to talk their ear off if they don't want to hear it. Because there's a lot of people, I'm having close friends that are like, you're in a pyramid scheme, I'm not talking to you. I'm like, that's fine. I'll talk to these people instead. Go about your business.
It is interesting how, because we are so involved in what we're doing with this, that it's all we talk about. Does anyone relate to that?
Yes.
It's the personal growth too.
Family, with your friends, it's always goes back to Plexus. I mean, I try not to do that, but
right.
Do you guys relate to that?
Yes.
With me, somebody always has some kind of ailment or something. I'm like, Plexus could help you.
Exactly. It's so hard for me not to do that.
Yeah.
As the year would progress, just this last year in teaching, where I was going for the dream and my goal was to walk away from that place. Mm-hmm. And the closer the days came to that, the more and more I could not stand to spend with some of those teachers in the lunchroom. Yes. I just chose to eat by myself, because if I go and sit in there and listen to them complain about the state of education and how there is no fixing it and how it's just getting worse and worse, it took me down, and
that's negative.
I couldn't tolerate it anymore. But I used to live in that, but I even then I still was positive, but yet it was just, I'm a different person now. I was changing, and I didn't want to stay there.
Right.
Well, Suzanne, I just want to say thank you for being so real and authentic, and just taking us back to just kind of you wanted to kind of have a pity party for a moment, but yet you went back and compared your last summer to this summer. Mm-hmm. And just reading these chapters and then hearing you tonight, that was very helpful to me, because I went in my back office today and just was looking at all the white lines and trying to figure out what to do, and could I do anything. And so I'm just thankful to know, to look back where I was last summer at this point. I didn't want to have anything to do with the business. In fact, I had written Jackie an email, I think at this time last year, and said, please don't bother me with the business part anymore, because I don't want to do the business. And to be now where I am and really wanting the business and wanting other people to have that opportunity. So thank you for being pretty real on that, and that those moments happen to us and all of that. And I had appreciated Allie today on the messaging us about that and where she was. It just helps it stay real, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah. Being real with people, and that I'm going to use that as a teaching moment. I really think that you guys need to hear me on this. You must admit to people on your team what you struggle with. And don't sound to them that you are infallible and that you've got it all figured out. And, you know, people are attracted to other people when they hear that they can relate to them. Like Kelly just now related to me, because she's like, I'm in a funk too. I've got this thing going on. She's got this thing going on. So guess what? We've got a connection here. And, you know, in my classroom, when I was standing in front of my students, if I'm standing there trying to teach them whatever it is I'm teaching them, but I'm putting myself on a pedestal and I'm untouchable, and I don't make any mistakes and I know everything, then they're never going to hear what I have to say. They're never going to believe that they can do what I'm teaching them to do. So what did I do? I admit, look, guys, hey, do I make 1,000 mistakes? Yes. Am I perfect? No. Do I know this language backwards and forwards? No. Do I know every word? No. You know, do I make thousands of mistakes and you never even know it? Yes, I do it all the time, you know, and they would just sit there and go, wow, you know, and I'd tell them a little bit about my life, and I'd be honest with them and tell them about my husband and about my dog and about some of the things, some mistakes I've made in my life. And boy, they really related to me as a person. Now, I didn't need to tell them everything, but I told them some things about myself to where they would buy into me. And so I'm telling you that, to be that with your team. Be that way with your team. Show them who you are. Show them that you love them. Show them your heart. Express, be vulnerable. Be transparent. Don't be afraid to show them that you are fallible and you make mistakes, because they will love you for it. They will love you because they make mistakes too, and they'll relate to it.
So that's what I started doing, live videos. I don't know if y'all have seen my live videos. The ones I posted today where I put chocolate sauce in my protein shake because that was all I had. I have, I'm not kidding, 10 follow-ups from that, like potential people. Because now people are like, oh, you can just be a real person and do Plexus. I'm like, yeah, I didn't grocery shop to this weekend because I was out working my business. And I put chocolate sauce in my protein shake. And I had people from like England commenting on it, like my cousins, everyone in Pennsylvania. They're like, we just got one from our, like a random high school friend that messaged Jenna and I. They're like, hey, what's Plexus, girls? I'm like, oh, I got you. I'll send you the info.
Mm-hmm.
Live videos, so fun and so helpful for your business.
Yes, do videos the more you can. I mean, guys, really, you know, this is outside of your comfort zone. I know it is, but you're going to have to do it. Your audience wants to see you. They want to see you, not somebody else's testimony. They don't want to.
The more you do it, the easier it is.
And that's what the Presley Swagerty says. That the more you do this, the less you're going to feel like you're in a comfort zone anymore. You're gonna it's just like going to be expanding. And you're like, why was I afraid of that? You know, just literally get out there. Start talking about what you're doing during the day. Put yourself on a video. They're going to go, wow, she's brave. You know, I remember doing that when I saw Christine and I watched her for 8 months, and I literally was making fun of her on the side. I was like, what the heck is she doing? I was just like, man, I took my phone and I went over to my husband. Look what she just posted. She is really brave. And I even texted her. I'm like, you are so brave. Oh my God, how did you do that? I would have never had the, you know, and look at me, I'm doing it now. So I'm just saying that just put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to show your people who you are. And I'm not talking about just your team. I'm talking about your audience on Facebook. Get out there.
I want to say what stood out to me, part of these chapters was the part where he says, "Don't join an easy crowd. Go where the expectations and the demands to perform are high." And that was from Jim Rohn. And I feel like, I guess, with this team that you do put expectations high on us. And, you know, we may think that some of the stuff you asked to do is hard, but, you know, you're pushing us to do better. And, you know, and I appreciate that.
Well, I tell you what, I put those bars on myself. Thank you, Frankie. Thank you so much, Frankie. Does anybody else have a reflection they want to say or a comment or anything? Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you. Battery's dying. Kelly says she's going to have to
go.
Okay, I have something to say.
Go right ahead, Miss Wedge.
I have grown so much in the past 4 months with just reading books and all this personal growth. But, you know, the only sad thing is that I am realizing the negatives in my life and the people. And you try to bring or put positivity into them, but sometimes it's the same old thing. And it's like, okay, aren't you sick of hearing yourself? Let's move on and do something about it. So it's cutting some of those people out that usually call me every morning that I just have to do it because it brings you down. And unless I can recommend a book for them, but it brings you down. But I noticed that I'm growing and I feel like I want to move on.
You know, Angela, my running buddy, Angela Heyman, she says to me, when you're the smartest person in the room, it's kind of scary. And she's been doing some evaluating too. Like, who is she around? And the only thing she's doing is the friends, some of the friends or whatever, but she's, you know, I don't want to get too personal with her story, but, you know, you got to look at who it is that's around you. Are they influencing you? Or are you the one that's influencing them? I mean, it's just, you know, it's the better. And are they taking away?
Hello, I can talk about that.
Yeah.
Hello, I can talk about that.
Go right ahead, Miss Angela. You talk for yourself. She's on the phone here. Hello.
Hi, Angela.
Hey, Ange.
Hi, guys. I'm just over here just listening, just trying to get some laundry done and just paying attention to y'all. Y'all are on speaker and mute. And, you know, we're living out of boxes. And so anyway, something that I have personally done is I have spent a lot of time outside. I'm outside in the humidity right now, in the sweat. And last night I got 4.5 hours of sleep. Okay, so in order to do this business, you have to have a lot of sacrifice. All right, Suzanne, she has shown that to you guys already. Now, I have to go backwards to what almost like 1.5 years ago. Suzanne and I, we didn't really know each other, okay? Now keep in mind that Suzanne and I, we're just running buddies, okay? We're just friends, we're sidelines kind of thing. And, you know, when I was reading this, it's like I had God's wisdom before I really knew what it was that I needed to do. Because he talks about setting out a mentor. And I'm like, I need help. And so God kind of brought us together. And I specifically said to Suzanne, I need a mentor. I need some help. Because if I continue on the route that I'm on, I will not get my team to the rank or to the goal that they are looking up to me for. You know, it's the law of the lid. And so I wasn't surrounded by leaders. And for whatever reason, God knew that Suzanne and I were supposed to be together. All right. And he knew that you know, because he knows the beginning and the end and the present. And so he just kind of was like, Angela needs to get plugged in with Suzanne's team so that she's going to be able to encourage and motivate and inspire y'all tonight. So, yeah, you definitely need to seek out a mentor. You definitely need to seek out a running buddy. And I've talked to this, I hope I'm not going on a rabbit trail or anything, but just really you know, you got to find someone who is bigger and smarter than you. Okay? Do not surround yourself with people where you're pouring into them and you're not getting anything in return.
Wow.
Because if you continue to do that, you are not going to grow at all. So, you know, Suzanne and I, we didn't really know each other a year and a half ago. And so over the last month, we've gotten to know each other pretty well. And, you know, sometimes I just got to be frank with Suzanne. And, you know, she's wise enough to listen to me.
Yes. I am. Thank God, right?
But, you know, we, just like I sought her out to be a mentor, you know, she pours into me and I'm able to pour into her.
She does.
You know, to
Angela,
you know, it's more than just a friend.
I want to interrupt you just for a second. It is not one-sided here. Because I would not hang around with anybody that didn't challenge me. And Angela challenges me. Okay? She does. She tells me exactly like the cow ate the cabbage, and she just does not mince words with me. And I love her for that. I love her for that.
Yeah, sometimes I just got to be like, can I be frank with you? And I just got to say it like it is and how it looks. And I'm just like, you know, and it's not like I know better or anything like that, you know, because we need each other to strengthen us and to help us get better. Mm-hmm. So really, guys, you seek out someone where you're not always pouring into them. Because if they're not pouring into you, you're in the wrong crowd. You know, you really are. So anyway, that's my little
rant.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was passion 101 there.
Yeah, I guess it was, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. But you know,
that was awesome.
You know, a lot of things of what I heard, you know, in this book was just a confirmation, you know, and if you have that confirmation that you're on the right track, you need to keep doing it, okay? Mm-hmm. So if you get 4 hours of sleep, take an extra edge and make sure that you're still working out.
That's how I live.
You know, people are watching you. Do what?
Yeah. That's how I live. Yeah. I get 4 to 5 hours of sleep because I work this business so hard. So I either take accelerator, boost, or edge, depending on what my day is going to bring.
Yeah, you know, and so
that's normal.
While I am on my runs, I'm doing my workout, and I am listening to leadership material. Like right now, I'm working on a weakness of mine, which is fear of rejection. Mm-hmm. And so in that, I'm learning, okay, this is what I need to do better. This is, you know, because, gosh, you know, fear of rejection is talking to potentials. You know, how can you go up to someone and hand them a business card if you're afraid that to even talk to them and tell them about Plexus when they are desperate for it? Mm-hmm. So I just challenge y'all. That's all. You know, if you say that you don't have time, you do. You know, when you're in the car driving, when you're doing your workout, listen to leadership material. You know, get the books on Audible.
Yep.
I do that. I live with my earpiece in my ear because if I am not talking to someone, I am listening to a training video.
Mm-hmm.
That's so what awesome. I do.
Yeah. Who am I talking to? Because I am on the phone.
Heather Heyman. It's the Heyman folks.
Oh,
hi.
I'm so glad you're here. I really
Sorry, I didn't make it in the beginning because I was at physical therapy, but I made sure to sign on. That's why I was in the car and
I think you
I'm
are
on the phone
only
right now.
Cassie Rainey person on this call. I think you are literally the only one that comes and hangs out with us.
I love it. You guys are awesome.
I'm so glad that you've done that. That's awesome.
You sound like Cassie. I'm like, wait a minute, is this Cassie? No, it doesn't. No, it's me. Anyway.
Yeah. All right. I'm new and I talk a lot, so I have lots of things to say whenever you guys have these. So I'm glad that you let me say things.
Okay.
We are glad to have you.
15
till 10. That means it's 15 until 11 on the East Coast. Does anyone else have something they want to say? Okay, tomorrow night.
Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Because tomorrow
Tomorrow
night.
at 8 o'clock, we will have the 101 event. We're going to be posting things all day tomorrow on that thing. So you need to be on there commenting. Get on there, please, and comment on every post. We need you there, okay? We need your activity. Got to have you involved, all right?
Thank you, Suzanne.
Love y'all.
Bye, everybody. Thank you, Suzanne. It was wonderful, as always.
Good night. Love you too.
Bye, guys.